After God created the heavens and the earth, he established the Garden of Eden.
Where is the Garden of Eden?
There are many theories, but they are not well understood. Some say it is somewhere in the Middle East. God made man and took him to the Garden of Eden. And God said, "You may take from any tree of the garden and eat as you are pleased. But from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not take and eat. If you take it and eat of it, you will surely die." They kept this word, but the snake appeared and said, "God said if you eat it you will die, but you won't die if you eat it." So they ate. This story is similar to the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Epic of Gilgamesh was compiled in Mesopotamia around 2000 BCE. It became famous for having the same content as Noah's Arkansas. This Paradise Lost passage also has something in common. Gilgamesh was the king of Sumer, and he got the grass that gave him eternal life. But a snake appeared and took it away. It is the same story.
Why are they the same?
This is probably because they are based on the same night sky scene. I said that the Garden of Eden is like Taurus. If so, the two trees in the garden are the horns of Taurus. And Adam and Eve, who are picking the forbidden fruit, are the constellation Orion.
Looking at the star chart, it really is a perfect fit.
At the end of Orion's arm is the red giant star Aldebaran in Taurus. That is the forbidden fruit.
I see. So this fruit is a red apple. But why does the snake appear?
Eridanus is the name of the river god. This is the crafty snake.
I see. This constellation looks like a snake. But why is this snake cunning? Isn't it just like any other animal? It's a pity that it has to play a trick on both of us.
There's a reason why the Bible called it the cunning serpent. Look at where the constellation Eridanus begins. See the devilish face floating there?
Really? What is this?
It's called the Witch's Profile Nebula. God called it cunning because it looks like a demon. God said, "You shall crawl and eat dust all the days of your life. He will crush your head, and you will crush his heel." These words are so real. It was like this. Which is why this story was so well disseminated. God drove them out. And he put the cherubim on the flaming sword that turns to the east of the Garden of Eden, and made them guard the way of the tree of life.
Cherub is said to be an angel, but what is a flaming sword that spins?
It is said that the literal translation is swirling sword flame. But scholars don't know what it is, and say it is lightning or a divine weapon.
I don't know. I don't get it.
But I can't say that's the case. If the Garden of Eden is Taurus, then the spinning fiery vine could be a nearby celestial body. It is a Barnard loop, a celestial body, and if the three stars are swords, it appears to be a flaming sword that spins.
Yes, it is. The three stars change direction with time, so it looks like a flaming sword that spins. It could also be a literal translation of the flames of a whirling sword.
After this, the story of Cain and Abel is told, but this too seems to be a story of constellations. Perseus, Auriga, and Gemini are north of Taurus. Abel became a shepherd and Cain became a tiller of the soil. That means Abel fits the constellation Perseus and Cain fits the constellation Gemini.
So what about Auriga?
Cain killed Abel in the field. When God knew this, he said, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying out to me from the earth." There is a reddish-brown nebula in Auriga that looks like Abel's blood.
This story and the three constellations fit perfectly.
After this, evil infested the earth and God decided to create a flood to destroy the creatures. Noah went into the ark with his family and mates of creatures, just as God had commanded. A great flood occurred and the earth was wiped out. When the flood subsided, the ark remained on the mountain of Ararat.
Is this flood story true?
It is believed that something like the ruins of Noah's ark exist on Mount Ararat. On the other hand, geologists point out that no global flooding has occurred. He also stated that the story of Noah's ark should be taken only as a religious myth.
Then why the name of Mount Ararat in Turkey?
The Garden of Eden and the story of Cain and Abel seem to be stories from the constellations. So I think this story is also based on the constellations.
Maybe so, given that it is the same content as the Epic of Gilgamesh. But which constellation?
The flood would be the Milky Way in the night sky, and the ark would be the Auriga.
Auriga is in the Milky Way, so it looks like a boat drifting in a flood. But I see the actual place named Mount Ararat. After all, wasn't the flood an earthly event?
The Canaan region is in the constellation of Orion, Jerusalem is 3 stars, and Mount Ararat is the star at the bottom of Auriga. This is exactly what the ark looks like adrift on Mount Ararat.
Really? This can't be a coincidence. The Bible must have seen this picture and wrote the flood story.
At that time, this kind of vast area was already being used to map the heavens onto the earth. And people knew about it.
That was before the time when the Epic of Gilgamesh was written.
Canaan, the promised land, is in the earthly constellation of Orion. The Bible describes Canaan as a place flowing with milk and honey. This phrase could be a terrestrial equivalent of the scene of the 3 stars and the small 3 stars.
3 stars are the color of milk and 3 small stars are the color of honey.
Right. This expression is generally interpreted as a place of fertility. But Abraham went to Egypt because Canaan was a famine, not necessarily a land of fertility. Maybe I said that by applying the night sky scene to the ground. 3 stars were sacred in ancient times. So the land corresponding to it was also considered a special place.
Jerusalem corresponds to the 3-star Alnitak.
This star is the largest of Egypt's 3 pyramids, the Pyramid of King Khufu. So this place is considered sacred by the surrounding peoples and is a common holy place for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. This terrain looks a lot like Taurus and Orion, but it may not have been created by chance, but by God on purpose.
It's a trace of creation by God.
Before writing became commonplace, the night sky was probably the preacher's book in Genesis. So the story there would have been tailored to the night sky.